We are a few short weeks from Oscar nominations being announced, so I decided today that I'm going to be listing all of my nominees and who do I think is going to win at the 2026 Academy Awards. There's a lot of stuff to dive into, so let's just go right ahead and stay tuned to the very end so you can see my predictions for the nominees for Best Picture. So let's start off with the technical categories. I'm not going to be talking about the documentary or shorts categories because I haven't seen any of those nominees. I have like zero expertise in those categories. I'll just do the other technical categories. Starting off with Best Original Song. I think Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters is gonna win, with I Lied to You from Sinners, The Girl in the Bubble from Wicked for Good, Train Dreams from Train Dreams, and Dear Me from Diane Warren Relentless Getting In. Golden is easily one of the biggest songs of the year. It's on radios everywhere. It's sort of a situation like Shallow from A Star is Born and We Don't Talk About Bruno from A Canto. It's just such a big song that I don't see like any other song like able to beat it out. And of course, Diane Warren's gonna get a nominee. She gets it any year, no matter what movie. But the other three songs, they're from fairly popular movies, other than Train Dreams, which I really enjoyed a song and it's really unique compared to other stuff. But yeah, before I made this, I thought Wicked for Good would be getting more song nominees, but after that film has sort of faded the past few weeks due to its like lukewarm reception, I think Golden's easily gonna win. And I'm not done with K-pop Demon Hunters yet. So next up we have Best Score. I think One Battle After Another is gonna win, and the other nominees are gonna be Sinners, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein, and F1. I feel for most of these categories, it's either going to be option A, which is one battle after another, basically does a clean sweep in basically every category, similar to what Oppenheimer did a few years ago. May miss out in one or two categories, but the rest of the technical categories, I feel like it's going to win. And Johnny Greenwood's score is one of his best. The biggest competition it has is Sinners, because Ludwig Göransson, he's been a pretty consistent scorer. He's been having a lot of nominations and wins, and he does a really good job in Sinners. But I feel like Johnny Greenwood really hasn't got his flowers yet, so I feel like in this case they would give it to him. Marty Supremos has a really good score. I don't think that's gonna win. F1's more of like an action-based movie, and the technical categories in F1 are really good, and it's Hans Zimmer scoring, so I feel like that could get in as well. And Frankenstein also has a good score, so I decided that could get in as well. So yeah, I feel like One Bat After Another has a very good shot of winning this, but if not, Sinners is a very close second one. Next up, we have Sound. I think F1's gonna win, with the other nominees being Avatar Fire and Ash, One Battle After Another, Frankenstein, and Sinners. F1's a sports movie and one involving like lots of cars and stuff, so the sound is a key part of the movie. Top Gun Maverick won Best Sound a few years back, so this could also get a good shot. F1's not going to get into picture, director, or anything big. It's just going to be in a couple technical categories, and has a fairly solid shot of winning this. Avatar Fire and Ash is a close second. I don't think any of these other films have a close shot of winning. Maybe One Battle if it just starts winning all this stuff. But pretty easily, I could say just F1 wins this. I don't see anything that could really compete unless we see some changes in the next few weeks. Next up, Best Visual Effects. If I would have to bet all of my money on any category, Avatar Fire and Ash, I feel like has 100% chance of winning this. It has the best visual effects of any film this year and most films in general. And the Avatar films, especially with like Way of Water and this one, have better visual effects than basically any other film. I think the other nominees are going to be Superman, Wicked for Good, Frankenstein, F1, since there are very good visual effects in those films as well, especially since they're more like blockbuster films that heavily rely on stuff like that. But they should just rename this to like the James Cameron Award for Best Visual Effects, because there's like a 0% chance this loses. Anytime an Avatar film's coming out, it's going to win Best Visual Effects. And that's basically it for it. So yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash, Best Visual Effects. Next up, we have Best Makeup and Hairstyling. I think Frankenstein's going to win this, with Wicked for Good, The Smashing Machine, Sinners, and One Battle After Another getting in. Frankenstein is a very technical heavy film, and I feel like it's gonna especially get a lot of nominees in those categories, with one more above of the line category. But I feel like it's gonna be a very nominated film. After thinking it over for the past few weeks, I feel like Frankenstein is gonna be Netflix's big player this award season. And Del Toro movies, especially in the past, with like Nightmare Alley, have done very good work in the technical categories. Wicked for Good also has very good makeup and hairstyling. The Smashing Machine, I think this is going to be its only nominee, has good makeup and hairstyling. Sinners does a good job, especially as a horror film. In One Battle After Another, it has very limited makeup or hairstyling, but it's going to be a major player this season. I feel like it's going to sneak in. So yeah, Frankenstein overall, I think this is gonna win best makeup and hairstyling. Next up, we have best costume design. I think Hamnet's gonna win, with Sinners, Wicked for Good, Frankenstein, and The Testament of Anne Lee getting in. So Hamnet is a period piece, and those films, more often than not, will always win best costume design. 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 of the wins always go to period pieces. And although Hamnet is in, I'd say, second place for a Best Picture win, it's not really getting into that most technical categories. And I don't think it's going to win that many awards, but costume design is something I think it could easily get into. Granted, Sinners, Wicked for Good, Frankenstein, Testament of Anne Lee, they also have very unique costumes. Part of those are period pieces, and some of them just have to have like eccentric costume designs for the movie they're in. But I still think Hamnet's gonna win this either way. So yeah, best costume design for Hamnet. Next up, best production design, and I also think Frankenstein's gonna win this, with Hamnet, Sinners, Wicked for Good, and Avatar: Fire and Ash also getting in. It's a very tough call between whether Frankenstein or Hamnet can get in, but out of every film I've seen this year, I feel like Frankenstein quite easily has like the best production design. Throughout the film, it really helps you sell this world we're in. And although these other four films have really good production design, we've already seen some of this production for Wicked for Good and Avatar Fire and Ash. Sinners, it's mainly in a couple locations, so I don't think it could win that way. Hamnet's gonna give Frankenstein its toughest call, but I feel like Frankenstein could still win this. Hamnet doesn't have many of the most memorable production design aspects, but Frankenstein easily has more memorable parts and aspects that you remember throughout the film. Whether they're on the water, whether they're in like the castle, Frankenstein's lab, or the wilderness, it all looks very good and helps elevate this film. So, best production design for me would go for Frankenstein. Next up, we have Best Film Editing, and I have a good feeling Marty Supreme could win this category, with One Battle After Another, Sinners, F1, and Hamnet also getting in. Now, Marty Supreme's a sports movie, and those movies very often get in or win Best Editing. And the editing in Marty Supreme, probably the best I've seen this year. But again, we always gonna have one or two movies giving it stiff competition, and this year it's gonna be with One Battle After Another. Both films have very good editing and help make these pretty long movies feel much shorter than they are. But the editing in Marty Supreme is a little more consistent, although I think it's a slightly weaker film than One Battle. Overall, it just really helps carry the film, and One Battle has much more memorable things than Marty Supreme. And I don't think Marty Supreme's going to win that many categories. I think it's going to win one more, but we're going to get to that near the very end. So I think Best Editing is going to go to Marty Supreme. Next up, we have Best Cinematography. I feel like One Battle After Another is going to win this, with Sinners, Frankenstein, Hamnet, and Train Dreams also getting in. Most of these movies I've talked about previously, I feel like Train Dreams could sneak in. That's one of the cinematography is one of the strongest things of the film and is very memorable. But it quite easily is going to go to One Battle After Another. Sinners, Frankenstein, Hamnet, they're also going to be big contenders, so they're going to get in. But One Battle is just the most consistent film. And the cinematography is really gorgeous, especially towards the very end of the film, and really helps elevate it as well. The cinematography in Paul Thomas Anderson films are always gorgeous, and he hasn't worked with his previous cinematographer in a while. He won his There Will Be Blood won Best Cinematography in 2007, and I feel like he could win once again for this film. Different cinematographer, but so gorgeous nevertheless. So I feel like that film is going to win Best Cinematography. And lastly, the last smaller category I would consider is Best Animated Feature. I could quite easily say K-pop Demon Hunters is going to win this, with Zootopia 2, Elio, Arco, and Little Amelie also getting in. K-pop Demon Hunters has been one of the biggest films of this year, and the biggest film on Netflix of all time. And especially with all of the songs from the soundtrack, really helps elevate it to be one of the biggest animated features this decade. The only competition I say it has is Zootopia 2, but if you look between all of the winners in Best Animated Feature, unless you're a Toy Story movie, sequels are never going to win in this category. And K-pop Demon Hunters is a very unique film, an original one, something the Academy really enjoys. And with, I think it's also going to win Golden, that's going to help this win. And yeah, none of the other films are going to give it any competition, so Best Animated Feature would go for K-pop Demon Hunters. So we've gone through many of the technical categories. There is one film, I've been catching up on all of these award contender films for the past few months, and especially these past few weeks, but there is one film I have not gotten the chance to see. That being The Secret Agent. Apologies to all of my Brazilian viewers, but I literally could not find a single way to watch this movie. The nearest theater that's showing this is like 2 or 3 hours away, and I can't even see it on any pirating website, which obviously I would never do such a thing. But yeah, I'm gonna try catching this in the next few weeks if I can. But since I haven't seen it, it's holding me back a little. Apologies. But, anyways, we're going to get into some of the bigger categories. I have reviews for many of these films in case you want to hear some more in depth thoughts on this. If you want to hear my thoughts on One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein, Jay Kelly, or many of these other films I'm going to be talking about, be sure to check out the playlist of all of my reviews in the description. I'll also be leaving a link at the end of the video, so be sure to check that out. But now, let's talk about Best International Feature, which this is perhaps one of the most competitive feature lineups I've seen this past few years, because all of these movies could be big award contenders. I feel like Sentimental Value is going to win, and It Was Just an Accident, No Other Choice, The Secret Agent, and Surat are also going to get in. All of these are neon movies, surprisingly. But I'd say the first four of these movies have really good shots of getting into other categories. And all of them have been some of the most acclaimed movies of the year as well, winning tons of other awards. But the reason Sentimental Value gets the edge is I think it's just going to get into more categories than the rest of these films. I feel like it's going to get a lot of more acting categories, screenplay nominations, and just overall has a higher shot of getting in. They do speak some English in this movie, and it's also a movie a little bit about filmmaking, something the Academy loves to see. But overall, I feel like it gives this the edge over other movies. Although It Was Just an Accident won the Palme d'Or, and Sentimental Value overall is just more appealing to Western audiences. I would personally vote for No Other Choice, but alas, that's not the case. And The Secret Agent has also been quite a big of an awards contender as well. With Surat, it's gotten quite a bit of acclaim, but I feel like it's not going to get into anything other than this. So my choice for Best International Feature would be Sentimental Value. Next up, we have casting. This is the very first year of casting, so I'm a little unsure of like how it's gonna work, but I feel like One Battle After Another once again is gonna win, with Sinners, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Hamnet getting in. Spoilers alert for the next few sections, but these are the big 5 movies that are gonna get nominated in basically everything and also win as well. But since I feel like One Battle After Another overall has the best cast out of any of these films, Sinners also has an extraordinary cast, but I feel like One Battle After Another is more appealing, more mainstream names, and also slightly better performances. I also feel like that's gonna get in. Marty Supreme has a phenomenal cast full of people who haven't acted before. Sentimental Value has a really key group of main characters, and Hamlet's just a big player, so I feel like those movies are gonna get in. But in the end, I feel like One Battle After Another is gonna win this pretty easily. Sinners or Marty Supreme don't really have much of a shot of getting in, so that would be my vote for best casting. Now we're getting into the big categories. Best Adapted Screenplay, which of the 2 screenplay categories, this one is going to be the most competitive. I feel like One Battle After Another is going to win, with Hamnet, Wake Up Dead Man, Bugonia, and No Other Choice getting in. When it comes to what's going to win, it's a toss-up between One Battle and Hamnet. One Battle and Hamnet are the 2 biggest contenders. And although I feel like One Battle could win, because Paul Thomas Anderson has received so many screenplay nominations in the past and has never won, this is still one of his strongest and could win. If the Academy doesn't want to give it all of the movies and wants to give Hamnet something, it could be a close second. Because if Hamnet doesn't win everything, they want to give at least one win. So Best Adapted Screenplay would be a good shot. When it comes to the other 3, Wake Up Dead Man, a lot of people have been like thinking this isn't going to get in. And I think this is the best screenplay of the Knives Out films. Glass Onion got in, and although a little more ambitious than this one, the execution of Wake Up Dead Man is just better overall. And I feel this every year there's one movie that only gets a screenplay nomination, and Wake Up Dead Man could be that film this year. And the other 2 films are Bugonia and No Other Choice. And I have first off, let's talk about No Other Choice. I love this screenplay, and I just want to see Park Chan-wook get one Oscar nomination. This man has been doing consistent work for the past few decades, and this is arguably his best script and a very good adaptation. Bugonia also as well is an amazing script full of amazing dialogue, and although few characters, they're very well developed, and is one of the strongest parts of the film. Not the strongest though, as we'll get to later. But yeah, even though there's a lot of good screenplays up to win, One Battle After Another I feel like is going to win Best Adapted Screenplay. Best Original Screenplay is the less competitive of the 2, but I feel like Sinners is going to win this. With Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, It Was Just an Accident, and Jay Kelly getting in. Let's get Jay Kelly out the way. I thought this would be a bigger awards contender, but it missed so many places that I feel like this is going to be one of, if not the only thing this movie gets into. I'm a little judgmental. I don't know if this could get into other categories. We just have to wait these next few weeks to see. But yeah, that's going to be 5th place in my opinion. It Was Just an Accident has a very good screenplay and is one of the strongest parts of the film. But it doesn't have a shot of winning, especially compared to its stiff competition. Marty Supreme and Sentimental Value, especially Sentimental Value, I thought were going to be the contenders to win this. But after considering everything else and comparing it to the other categories, I feel like Sinners is going to win this. And this is maybe going to be the only thing it wins overall. Sinners has a very unique screenplay that takes place in a very short time, but still in that time establishes so many good characters and a pretty fascinating horror story along the way, especially with how it tackles racism. I don't think Sinners has a good chance of winning in basically any category, And I feel like this could be the Conclave of last year, a film that gets nominated everywhere, but in the end only takes home one trophy. And if Sinners would win, that would mean Ryan Coogler would get an Oscar, which that would be pretty awesome to see. And it's also probably the best original screenplay overall. So yeah, that would be my vote for Sinners. Now we're getting into the good stuff, the acting categories. Best Supporting Actor is probably the least interesting category. There are 6 contenders, but the 5th place contender is the one. It's a 50-50 shot of who's going to get in. Between Adam Sandler, who I think is going to get in, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. Adam Sandler has been snubbed in the past so many times, especially in recent memory for Uncut Gems. So I feel like, especially with Jake Kelly not being the success that we thought it would be, Jacob Elordi could get in for Frankenstein. Frankenstein is basically getting into all of these technical categories, but he really gives a very subtle and nuanced performance as the creature created by Dr. Frankenstein that we really haven't seen in the past. And Jacob Elordi has been doing very good work. He has like 2 BAFTA nominations. I feel like he could get in for Best Supporting Actor. Now these next 4 guys, it's anyone's guess who could win. We have Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, Paul Mescal for Hamnet, Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value, and Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another. And me personally, at this point in time, I feel like Sean Penn's gonna win for One Battle. Now, a lot of people are predicting Benicio's gonna get in. I remember a few months ago, people weren't even thinking he was gonna get in. I always had him in my top 5 though. But still, he has very small screenplay. The top 3 of these guys, they have so much screen time in their films. Paul Mescal is basically the lead in his film, and Stellan Skarsgård gets really close to that. But yeah, this is the case of the Academy choosing a likable performance over a better performance. The biggest comparison I can say is Christoph Waltz winning for Django Unchained. He was definitely not the best actor in that category, but he's not even the best supporting actor in his film. Leonardo DiCaprio and Samuel L. Jackson were better than that. But the thing is, he was more likable, and that really pulls the strings on Academy voters. But I still feel like he's going to be in 4th place. Nice to see him get a nomination, but I don't think he's going to win. Same with Stellan Skarsgård. He's probably the best performance in Sentimental Value, but this would be his first nomination, and he wouldn't have a shot winning this. Paul Mescal for Hamnet, I feel like people are underestimating him. I don't think he could win, but if Benicio del Toro and Sean Penn split up the One Battle After Another votes, I could maybe see him win. But Sean Penn as Stephen J. Lockjaw is just probably the best supporting performance I've seen this year. And also maybe his best performance overall. He plays such a unique person that at first he seems like he's going to be like a real tough guy and like a really evil villain, but he's pretty much a pathetic loser in the end. And although people would say, well, this would be his 3rd Oscar win, and like they don't give 3rd Oscar wins that easily. Like look at Meryl Streep, for example. But I feel like he could pull this off maybe. I have to wait a few weeks to see and maybe reconsider, but still, I would probably put Sean Penn as the winner for Best Supporting Actor as of now. Next up, we have Best Supporting Actress. At first, everybody was predicting Ariana Grande would get in. But now, I still have a good feeling that Tiana Taylor is going to win for One Battle After Another. With Amy Madigan, Ariana Grande, Inga Epstoder Lilias, sorry if I mispronounced that, and Elle Fanning getting in. Let's talk about the bottom 2. The 2 ladies from Sentimental Value. And they're gonna, I'd say, divide up the votes. Lilias is the better of the 2 supporting actresses, but Elle Fanning, in my opinion, was snubbed last year for A Complete Unknown. So to make up for that, I feel like they would put both into this film. And they also do phenomenal performances. Now, for Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, I'd probably have to put her in 3rd place. Wicked for Good has lost basically all of its goodwill and momentum. At first, it looked like she would easily win this over the other ladies in this category, but the film isn't that strong overall. She gives a better performance than the first film, but the film just isn't that strong overall. Now, Amy Madigan for Weapons. This would be her second nomination, and she's been doing surprisingly really well in nomination season. Weapons is a horror movie after all, and those horror movies really don't get in at the Oscars that much, especially when it comes to performances. But her performance is like one of the highlights of that film. But even then, I feel like Taylor is going to win for one after another. She fills that role Mahershala Ali played in Moonlight, being very effective in the first 30 or so minutes, and you never forget her throughout the film. And even on a rewatch, she's still very consistent and very memorable, even once you finish the film, and is a lot better than a lot of the other females in that film as well. Even though this is one of her first acting nominations, the Academy really doesn't care, especially when it comes to supporting actress category. So I feel like Tiana Taylor could win Best Supporting Actress in a little bit for one battle after another. Next up, Best Actor, perhaps the most competitive field in the entire 2026 Oscars lineup. Before I was seeing all of these movies, I thought that Daniel Day Lewis, Brendan Fraser, and Jeremy Allen White would get in. But now my top five would be Timothy Chalamet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Michael B. Jordan, Wagner Moura, and Ethan Hawke. And I think Timothy Chalamet could pull off this win. But let's start off at the bottom. First off, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. Hawke single handedly carries Blue Moon. The film is basically him the entire time. I don't think he's absent for a single scene. It's just him monologuing. And behind First Reformed, this would be his best acting to date, especially the way he portrays Loren's heart. He does a really phenomenal job and really helps bring Richard Linklater's film into the spotlight. So I feel like he could get that fifth place nominee. Next up, we have Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. I've mentioned previously, I haven't seen the film yet, but word of mouth, people absolutely love this performance and how he carries this film. He won Best Actor at Cannes, which doesn't mean they're going to get on the Oscars. Look at Jesse Plemons for Kind of Kindness, Koji Yakusho for Perfect Days, and Song Kang-ho for Brokers. None of them got in, but I think like the last nominee, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, he surprisingly got into that 2019 lineup, and I feel like Wagner Moura could be that case. He's done very good work on TV with Narcos, and he's been doing some more film acting. And once I actually see The Secret Agent, I could give my thoughts and feedback, but I have a feeling he could really get in. Next up, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. Jordan absolutely carries Sinners with his dual role. He is probably has I hopefully he gets in. He's been snubbed in the past and he's very deserving of a nomination. He should have got an Oscar nomination for Creed and Black Panther in my personal opinion. And Sinners is somehow his best role yet. Him and Ryan Coogler are like a modern day Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro. Anytime they do a film together, you know it's going to be a work of art. And although I don't think he like has a good shot of winning, I feel like he's safely in this. Next up, the man who could somehow win a second Oscar, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another. Personally, I would definitely not give the win to DiCaprio. At first, he had a really good shot at the beginning of the season, but after his movie was released and we got to the movies releasing in October, November, and December, his performance really doesn't hold up as much as I thought it would. And there are so many other performances I put above his. He's pretty amazing and really funny in One Battle, but would the Academy give him a second Oscar for this? I highly doubt it. He's been snubbed this decade for Don't Look Up and Killers of the Flower Moon. So I don't feel like the Academy really loves him that much and would give him the nomination. And I feel like the who I think is going to win, Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme, does a better job at this. Chalamet carries the whole film throughout the entire time and is probably the best male lead performance I've seen this year. This would be his third nomination, and he was really close to winning last year for A Complete Unknown. So the Academy seeing this, they would probably give him the win. He's a little young, and a lot of people say, oh, he's going to win in the future. But he still gives the best performance. And along with film editing, I feel like this is the only thing Marty Supreme's going to win. Timothy does an absolutely brilliant job in this film. And out of all of these other four guys, he just gives the best performance overall. So my win would be Best Actor for Timothy Chalamet. The last acting category, we have Best Actress. Jessie Buckley is going to win this, 100%. This is probably one of, if not the best performances of the year. And I don't think she has any competition. When it comes to the other four ladies in this category, though, I had a tough time choosing. But my next four nominees would be Rose Byrne, Renai Ransva, Emma Stone, and Chase Infinity. Let's talk about Chase Infinity, because at first I was doubtful, and I was maybe thinking of Cynthia Erivo for Wicked for Good, or maybe even Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee. But after seeing Erivo miss out at the Golden Globes of all places, I feel like Infinity could get in. Even though this is her first performance, she does a phenomenal job, better than most actors working nowadays, and really helps carry One Battle. And since One Battle is getting so many nominees, they might as well just give this Best Actress. When it comes to Emma Stone for Begonia, at first people were doubting whether she can get in, but I feel like she has a lock in this category. Begonia is not going to get the most categories, but she does a really amazing job in Begonia, especially the third act of that film. Whew, she's giving a really unique performance. Not as good as her win for Poor Things, but hey, she's one of the best actresses working right now, so give her that nomination. Next up, we have Reinsfuss for Sentimental Value. I haven't seen that many people actually talk about this performance. Everyone just puts her in, but although not as good as her performance in The Worst Person in the World, you have to get her the nomination. She helps carry Sentimental Value and does really phenomenal job acting alongside those other three talented actors. So though this isn't the most interesting role to talk about, she does a really good job, and considering how much momentum her film has, I'd put her at third place. And next up, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. One of the most anxiety inducing films I've seen, similar to Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems. And although people are like, well, if he didn't get in, she's not going to get in either. But she's been getting into some precursor places. And she really helps you understand like how much stress a mother has to deal with, considering all of the chaos around her. I'd probably put her on second place. Again, I don't think anyone's beating Buckley, but she just gives such a powerful performance. I would personally put her at second place. The Academy probably wouldn't do that, but I feel like it's safe to say she would get in, even though her film's probably not going to get in anywhere else. And Jessie Buckley for Hamlet. What else can I say? She gives, I already said this previously, one of the best performances I've seen this year. And she really makes Hamlet the truly spectacular movie that it is. And you can't really take that much away from it. And she was previously nominated for The Lost Daughter, so this isn't her first nomination. Granted, she's not overdue, but I feel like she could get in for Hamlet, and I feel like out of any acting category, she has the biggest shot of winning. So, Best Actress, I feel like easily it's going to go to Jessie Buckley. We're getting near the end, and we're at Best Director. If you're liking this ranking so much, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to have so much good content in the big 2026. Let's talk about Best Director. And before I give away the winner, I really want to put Park Chan-wook in this for no other choice. One of the best directing I've seen, and he should have one or two director nominations at this point. But alas, I don't think No Other Choice is unfortunately going to get that nomination. And I feel like instead, out of all of the foreign movies, Jafar Panahi is going to get in for It Was Just an Accident. Considering all of the personal stuff that's going on, and that Panahi, once he returns to his home country, is going to be facing jail time, I feel like the Academy is going to use that sympathy and get it in. Panahi does a really good job of directing, especially considering he was illegally filming the whole time. And considering what he had to work with, he does a phenomenal job. And especially that ending, in the best movie ending I've seen this year, he really helped sell this. Now, for the third and fourth place spot, Ryan Coogler for Sinners and Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme. A lot of people are doubting Josh Safdie. Other people would put in Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein or someone else. But especially, this is one of the best sports movies I've seen. And Safdie's direction, along with everything else he does when it comes to screenplay and editing, really helps sell this movie. Third place, I would put in Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Black directors barely get into Best Director and never win, but I feel like Coogler could get in for Sinners. Probably the best black director working right now, and all of his movies have been absolutely phenomenal, and Sinners is his best direction yet. Considering all of the other nominees Sinners is going to get into, I feel like it's going to be a solid third place. But now, I feel like One Battle After Another is going to win Best Director. Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win that trophy for Best Director, and Chloe Zhao is going to be in second place for Hamnet. Zhao already won Best Director this decade for Nomadland, and her movie before this was Eternals, which I don't think that's going to play a major factor in Hamnet, like not winning stuff, but she really doesn't need or deserve a Best Director win, especially considering what Paul Thomas Anderson does with One Battle. Last year, Sean Baker won 4 Oscars for Anora, and I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson has a shot of winning perhaps 3 or maybe even 4 trophies as well. His direction in One Battle After Another is probably his strongest to date, considering the grand scope of the movie, and he just blows the competition out of the water, especially considering how close he was to winning Best Director in the past, especially for There Will Be Blood, but somehow he does even better work than that. So I would single-handedly say that Paul Thomas Anderson deserves and should win an Oscar for Best Director for One Battle After Another. And finally, the last category and the biggest category we have is Best Picture. Whopping 10 nominees, but who do I think is going to get in? If you've watched the entire video, you probably know who I think is going to win. That would be One Battle After Another, with the other nominees being Hamnet, Sinners, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein, Bugonia, Avatar Fire and Ash, It Was Just an Accident, and No Other Choice. Let's start with those bottom 5 nominees. Now, I really haven't talked much about other nominees No Other Choice could get into, other than Adapted Screenplay International Feature. But man, this is a masterpiece of a movie. But there's also so much other competition that could get in that I haven't mentioned. Jay Kelly could maybe get in, Wicked for Good, and some other movies I haven't mentioned, but I'd still put this at 10th place. I'm very skeptical that this could get in, but if it would get in, man, I'll be really happy about that. And also, it was just an accident. I predicted it in director, and aside from very rare circumstances, anyone who gets into Best Director gets into Picture. And I'd probably put a bit, it was just an accident to Picture. Won the Palme d'Or. I feel like it's going to get other nominees. And most Palme d'Or winners in the past few years, aside from Titan, have gotten in or even won Best Picture. Although I'm not too confident about it winning whatsoever, it has a good shot of getting in. Now, perhaps my most controversial take, Avatar Fire and Ash in the Picture. The last 2 Avatar movies have gone to Picture, especially Way of Water, which Fire and Ash has received very similar reception to Way of Water, and I think it's going to get in. It's definitely going to win visual effects, probably going to get into 1 or 2 technical categories, and it's a very safe blockbuster. By the time it gets nominated at the Oscars, it's going to be close to making $2 billion. And the Academy needs to nominate usually a couple really massive movies for people to watch it. But I feel like, yeah, it's going to get in. Next up, Bugonia. I only predicted into actress and adapted screenplay, but that's all of the momentum it needs. Poor Things, I would say, was the runner up in 2023 to win Best Picture, or in many other categories. If Oppenheimer wouldn't have existed, I'd probably say Poor Things would win lots of stuff, including picture, director, and a couple other technical categories as well. And since Bugonia is almost as good as Poor Things, I feel like it could get in as well. Probably putting this at 7th. I'm not too doubtful of it not getting in, but yeah, I feel like it's also going to get in. Netflix always gets a movie into Best Picture, and this year, Frankenstein's its best bet. I don't think any other Netflix film has received as much as acclaim as Frankenstein that could win nominations. But yeah, especially being nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Jacob Elordi could push it above the line. It's a Del Toro movie, and Nightmare Alley got in, even though it being a weaker film with less nominations. So Frankenstein could get in. Now these top 5 movies are very easily going to get in. I have no doubt about it. And let's talk about the 4th and 5th place nominees, Sentimental Value and Marty Supreme. I've talked about all of the nominations they're going to get. So obviously they're going to get a Best Picture nomination as well. Will they have a shot of winning? No. But I'd say to say they're in the top 5, considering how good they are, especially Marty Supreme, and all of the nominations they've gotten as well. And Sinners. Sinners has been 3rd place for like most of these nominations, not winning. So I'd probably put it in 3rd place for Best Picture as well. It's one of the best movies of this year, and for an original movie, made really massive amounts of money, which the Academy seems to reward quite often. So yeah, this would probably easily be my 3rd place nomination for Best Picture. Now these top 2. Yeah, I feel like One Battle After Another is going to win, and Hamlet's going to be a safe second. A lot of people think Hamlet's going to win because they're saying, oh, One Battle is not going to win everything. And if this movie would win, it would give like Steven Spielberg and Sam Mendes another Oscar, which, whatever. Did they really need another win? They should make a movie of their own, probably. But yeah, I don't think Hamlet's going to win, especially considering how much One Battle has received probably more nominations and it's probably going to receive more wins. I feel like safe to say One Battle After Another is not only going to win Best Picture, but also win in basically most of the categories it's nominated as well. So, anyways, you guys, those were my thoughts on what's going to be nominated and potentially win at the Oscars. I'm pretty certain about all of my nominations, not so much about the wins. Oscar nominees are going to be announced in a few short weeks, so be sure to stay tuned where I'm going to be reacting to all of the nominees and give my very final predictions at what it's going to win. We have some award ceremonies happening soon, and we're also going to receive nominations for other films. So I feel like that's going to really help out so much. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for watching my first video of 2026, which is going to be a massive year for me and this channel. So be sure to stay tuned. Anyways, hope to see you guys next time. I'll see you then.